Tariq clapping Anya's cheeks just to get to Noma? What?
Yeah. When were you fucking Diana?
Last semester. Right, it was after Effie. It was one time, bro. I don't even fucking understand how this is possible.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Crazy to not ask that question.
I always use condoms with Celine. Me and you didn't.
Yeah, because condoms always work every fucking time.
Well, that episode 5 of Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4. That shit. Woo, that shit got good. Damn, that got good. Now, we got to see a couple of things kind of like transpire here. And, I mean, Tariq basically was on the drugs because of what Ellie spiked his drink. I mean, she's not trustworthy. Ellie's not trustworthy because it's like, she again, like once when that braid in her, you know, again, that this is only gonna fuel more flames to Don Carter. It's only gonna fuel flames to him because he's already sort of on the hinge, as when we seen like in the ending parts of it where he's talking to his, like he was talking to himself, but he was like, you know, goodbye sweetie, and kissing like on like the picture, I guess, of his like his dead wife. So I was like, oh, okay, this guy, he's a little bit loose up on the noggin. He's a little bit loose up there. So I'm like, okay. And then in the beginning parts of it, Tariq was like, oh, I don't know how this happened, and this is all happening to me. And I'm like, listen. I don't know why dudes be saying this nonsense when you blast inside of a female. And I like how this dialogue was happening, because it was like Diana was like, yeah, Han Salim, they wear condoms. They did not. So he's just like, well, I guess condoms. I said, hold up. I said, fellas, if you ever blast inside of a female and you know it's yours, don't be stupid. Unless you know she's a promiscuous woman, then you better get tested. But he was saying some outlandish stupidness. I was like, hold up, that's not how this works. Like, I was like, yo, but I like how he was kind of like contemplating on everything, because he was talking to Braden and he was just like, he wants revenge, but he's trying to figure out how to have everything and being like the alpha. But then when he was under the hallucinogen drugs, and he was, you know, seeing stuff and he was hallucinating, and then he was in truth, you know, wearing the same thing, like the ghost attire, the suit, and then it looked like it was a small child, and then it manifested into himself. And I'm like, huh? What type of power ego trip Tariq is on? Where it's just like he knew it comes to this, and he said that version of you is the one that's weak, but this version of you is the one that's not afraid of anything. I said, what is this? But again, he wakes up. Again, he's talking to Brady. He's trying to figure this thing out, and then it's like, okay. And then we see him like later on talking with Diana, because he goes with her to like the ultrasound, and then they talk about like the future. And I kind of like what they was doing here, where they was taking stuff from like the original Power, where Ghost had Tasha and he had the kid, and they was at the the penthouse, and it looked like it was kind of like memorying that that old time. And then he was kind of like telling her, he was just like, well, his father tried to have everything, and he was kind of like, you know, his past caught up to him. He was trying to like, you know, sort things out, but he was never really out the game. And I'm like, well, that part of it's true, but then at the ending, he was going to have everything. He was going to leave. He was going to become Governor Ghost, and Tariq stole all of that away. So I'm like, here we go. Like, it's like it was right, but it was still wrong. Like, I was like, okay. But now he's going down the route of saying, well, instead of leaving the game, right, he's saying, no, he can still be in the game, have everything, and still be on top. Because I think where they're going with this, because it was like, remember how in the original Power, when Tasha was just like, I think, no, when Ghost asked her, he said, oh, who do you thought I was going to be or whatever, and she was like, oh, the biggest drug dealer in New York City, right? I think they're going down that path of, if let's just say like Ghost never got with Angela and he still stayed with Tasha, and it's like, okay, that's the route I think they're going to try to go with where Tariq doesn't leave the game, but instead he stays in the game, right? And he remains on top, and he doesn't have to leave, from what he told Diana. So I'm like, okay, I can sort of see that. I can kind of see that option being there for Tariq, because it was like when Ghost reunited with Angela, and they was talking or whatever, and he was, trying to be better and trying to do good for her rather than being good for Tasha. I mean, he had the family, but it was just like Tasha was more on the whole power trip of, okay, he's a drug dealer, but he's also a nightclub owner. She loved all of that, but Angela saw more than all of that from Ghost. She saw better, and that's when he was like, all right, I'll try to do better. But Diana, it just seems like she doesn't want to be a part of the game. She doesn't want any of that. She just wants the baby to be healthy and for her to, like, I guess, live like a normal life. And rather than just being in the game, as we seen later on from Drew too, where Drew was at the art gallery and he was like showing like this painting, right? I guess like he drew. I think it was Gordo. I think he drew it. I think of Gordo, I believe. And that's when I guess he's trying to like go back into his natural element of being an artist. To be honest, I kind of completely forgot that I guess he was talented in art. That kind of like blew past my brain, because we all know, well, what am I saying? It just blew past my brain about him being like an artist, right? But I just, man, I kind of like what they did here and what they're trying to maybe do with like Tariq's character going forward. I really do. It's quite interesting. And then we got to see more from Zion. I like how he was teasing Brayden in the beginning. He was just like baby Tommy. Now, unfortunately, Brayden is nowhere close to Tommy's level, unfortunately. Like, Brayden is his own character. Tommy was crazy. And it's just like, I really do want to know more about this Zion character. And will he also probably maybe pop up in Power Origins? Because he knows quite a lot about, like, Ghost and Tommy. Like, he knows a little bit more. So I'm like, as if he was around in that original time with everybody else, but just did his own thing separate from everybody else. So I'm like, I kind of want to see more about him, because Brayden tells him about Noma, so he's like, all right. Then he pulls up on Noma, and he's, basically intimidating her a little bit, right? And then that's when she tells Kane about it, because first she was blaming Kane because she thought Kane told Zion about her. Then that's when David shows up and he's trying to like be peacemaker, and that's when Kane basically said his claim, like, no, I basically fighting for her approval. Now no one's playing a dangerous game here, because she's basically having Kane and now Davis. Oh, come on now. She's like, well, let's see who's gonna be bigger than who. I'm like, oh my god, like, that's dangerous. But they go over to the fight pit. That's when Kane fights Zion. Zion cheats after when he was losing the fight, uses brass knuckles, right? And that's when it was impressing Noma even further. And then that's when you see later on, that's when Davis is like, well, I got everything cleared up with Wiley, and everything is good there. And then that's when she's hopping on Davis. I was like, oh my god, this is dangerous. Because Kane believes that he's up in front, he's up in center, but I don't know. This ain't looking good. I don't know, because she's playing men here. Well, granted, she was burnt by Mecca, so I guess this is just sort of justified, but still it's dangerous as hell. But then we got to see also too in the beginning parts of it, where Noma shows up, and that's when she was, because she found out that Tariq was dealing again, so she was like, oh, what's going on? Then Anya shows up. Then Tariq gotta play stupid and like, well, it's your mom's or whatever. She's looking at him like, this mother. And then that's when Kane like, yeah, man, I can't wait to shoot you. Man, I can't wait to kill you. I'm like, oh, here we go. So that's when Noma takes Anya out, and that's when Brayden and Tariq have that argument. And he was just like, man, you don't know what you doing. And then Ellie's just right there. I'm like, man, see, the thing is about Brayden, he's not like a Tommy, but you could say he's making Tommy mistakes. Where it was like when Tommy was with Holly, he told her about Ghost and everything else. And that's when Tommy's like, whoa, I have a stake in this claim here. But it's like, as Ghost said, why would you tell her? Because technically Holly was the one, well, in essence, it was her fault from telling everything, which Angela found out that who Ghost really was, and that whole ordeal just kind of just like blew up because you telling people that's not supposed to know about things. And then you got Ellie, so I'm like, again, she knows way too much about certain things, and all it has to take is for her to get picked up by Carter, and that's it. Game over. Game fucking over. So I'm like, oh boy, she has to go. She knows too much. So that's when, like, you know, Braden and her was like talking. She's like, yeah, I spiked this drink. He said, you did what? Nah, son, hold up here. It's like, Ellie, yeah, she has her problems, but I think she's an addict. I think strong-heartedly, she's probably like a fun addict and a dangerous person that Braden has to cut ties with. So I was like, nah, that shit ain't happening. But now, oh boy, the meat and potatoes here. Mr. Carter himself. He is a dirty, I guess maybe like a dirty cop. I think he's a dirty cop, sort of, I believe. Yeah, he has to be, because he at the end is like, okay, because Monet and Drew, they was talking at the diner or at the bar, whatever. They was talking, right? And that's when he was just like, I kind of want nothing to do with you, this and that or whatever. So she apologizes and makes peace with him. So he's like, all right, one last score. I teach you. We'll rob no more shipments, and that'll be it. And then you figure a way of selling it, and this is how you can get some money. He's like, okay. Then Carter was there. Then it was like, all right, he's there, and he's like, well, you know, everybody, first up, hands up. Then he's like telling them, he's like, listen, the moment innocent people get caught here, I'm gonna kill you. Forget prison. I'm just gonna kill you. So I'm like, hold up, what you mean? And then he talks to this, I guess, one of the helpers. Where it was just like, yeah, you know, you killed that boy, and the father was grieving. Yeah, we was looking for you for months. Nah, that wasn't me, gang. That wasn't me. Nah, I ain't gonna ever forget a face. That was you. Yeah. And he couldn't go home, and you ain't gonna go home either. Pow! I was like, oh shit. So I was like, all right. Now he's like, he doesn't care what they do. He's going to be the one controlling everything and making sure he gets a cut. So I said, word? His task force is dirty? Word? Now I wonder what Kamal take. I wonder what he's going, because Kamal seems like he's, you know, he's not a crooked, you know, cop. He seems like he's on a straight and narrow path, and I'm kind of thinking that maybe the olive branch would probably be on Carter's part to be like, well, I get what you're saying, like, you know, arresting people, that's still part of the job, but I wonder if he's gonna like slide him over to be like, well, if you want to cut or anything, and then Kamal probably be like, nah, I'm not down with this, and either Kamal might die or maybe Carter might sense it and might not bring him into the fold. Maybe because it seems like Carter already has his own team. Everybody's already part of that dirty cop business, right, of controlling operations and most likely killing criminals. So I'm like, okay, this is different. This is different because it's different from when Sax was, you know, being dirty. I mean, yeah, he played his card at the end, and he was a snake at some points and, you know, doing what he was doing at the time, but I like how Carter's moving here because he's like, nah, forget the rules. If they play dirty, how come we can't play dirty? And I'm going to get my cut. So I'm like, oh, man, I like this. Now that he got the Tejadas, well, basically Monet and Drew under his thumb to be like, well, if I see anybody's dropping, yeah, I'm coming after y'all. And she's like, oh, that's when Drew was like, well, what if we tell? What if we snitch on you? He's like, who gonna snitch? Decorated officer, task force, right? Who gonna say anything? And I was like, damn. Now you know Monet's gonna have to figure a way of getting out of this. She gonna have to figure out something to be like, listen. Carter, he's doing too much. That man gotta go somewhere. Cause I'm like, he got full authority, right? But we know ultimately his goal is to get Tariq. That's his ultimate goal. He's playing. He want. Actually, no. He wants Tariq and he wants to connect. That's what he wants. It's the two things that he wants. But judging how Carter isn't afraid to kill any perps or whatever, it does actually bring up the question that maybe did he wanted to kill James St. Patrick himself? Maybe was he like the one he was the one that he probably wanted to kill, but Tariq beat him to the punch. So now he's like, well, since I couldn't probably kill Ghost, now he probably want to try to kill Tariq now. So I'm like, ooh, because his whole vendetta, because he was like, yeah, your father was dirty and corrupt, and just like you. So now it makes us wonder, like, maybe he probably wanted to kill Ghost. So I'm like, oh man, Carter. I'm like, okay, all right, I see something with Carter. I'm like, all right, now I see something with Carter. But man, this episode was all right. And we gotta wait all the way up until September for them to give us the rest of the episodes, because I'm kind of wondering everything. I'm kind of wondering what they're gonna do here, because I'm like, Carter is already, sort of like a dirty cop, right? Then Tariq, he's trying to figure a way of being the alpha, right, and being in control of everything rather than being the pawn. So I'm like, okay. And then as he tells Brayden later on as well that, he has good parts and bad parts of his father, and he's going to try to use those parts, even though he denied it for so long, but now he's admitting to it. But the one thing that he still is failing to understand is just that Ghost already foresaw being in that life. He only wanted to be in that life just to, make the money and have the nightclub. But I don't think his intentional goal was to stay in there forever. That was Tasha's goal. She wanted him to stay in there forever. And that's when he seen things differently. And he was just like, and being with different people made him open up his perspective on things and saying, well, no, I kind of want to do things differently. Leave the game and be governor, right? Rather than staying in there forever and potentially either getting arrested or dying. And Tariq is trying to say, well, I guess Ghost leaving was the wrong choice, but staying was the right choice. Again, it's sort of wrong, because he's going to only find out maybe later on that staying in the game may end up, again, him dying or worse. But, ooh, boy. Oh, man, that shit was good. I can't wait. September. Oh, my God. But, let me know in the comment section down below. What you guys think? What you guys think of episode 5? Like, what you guys think about Carter and his motivation? How you think he's gonna try to catch Tariq? Everything. But like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will catch you all in the next one.